Let's begin with the first video. Um, Welcome to Inventor. This is basically the user interface for Autodesk Inventor. This is a very old model of a go-kart, and don't worry, we won't be making this today. Of course, you might learn how to make this after taking this tutorial. This is from this video, this guy over here. Learn Autodesk Inventor in under an hour, 3D CAD modeling, and he uses this one.
It's for beginners. So
Very
we're going
great
to
guy.
take
What we are going to be making today, however, is this one over here, this carrier. Yeah, this one seems much easier. It's very good for a beginner. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually make this carrier and then later on assemble it onto this little part over here. So, let's begin. Let's start with a new part file. If you can see, there's 4 modes here. There's a part file, new assembly, new drawing, and presentation. The first part will cover a part file, and honestly I always start with the assembly. I never use part file, and I make the parts within the assembly. You can do that, but for a beginner, let's just start with a new part file. Okay. Alright, so the first thing you'll see when you come to a 2D sketch is this little blank screen here. Nothing is happening right now. And yeah, no matter what you do, nothing is happening. So let me direct your attention to this what would you call it, panel. Yeah, I guess this panel over here. Yeah. You'll see many options here actually. You'll start off in the 3D model. Of course you can't, if you click over here, you can't actually do anything. It tells you to make a 2D sketch. So instead of getting impatient, just stay with me. Let me just introduce you to the tabs. We have the 3D model, we have the sketch tab, and when you click on the sketch tab, it will immediately take you to these planes over here. Yeah. So I don't want to do that just yet. I want to show you the rest of the tools: distance, tools, manage. For now, I just want you to focus on the sketch tab, and later on when we make a 2D sketch on one of these planes, the XY or the YZ or the XZ plane, we can then begin to make it a 3D model by extruding. I'm sure you've all done it before. So okay, let's just start a 2D sketch. We'll start it onto this XZ plane over here. Okay. One more thing I want you guys to make sure, actually just finish the sketch for now. Go to your tools, document settings, yeah, in the tools panel, and make sure your units are set to millimeter and kilogram. Yeah, it should always be set to SI units. Okay, now instead of making the sketch again, if you notice on this right hand bar, there it is. If you ever exit your sketch accidentally, don't just make another sketch, you know. Yeah, just actually no, if you do make another sketch, okay, it just goes back to that one. It's alright. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll make a circle, and
with
according
no
to the
means to
one
support.
here,
No,
his
they don't.
is
But in the world of Inventor,
let me just quickly show you the
use the
dimensions
dialog
used.
box.
Um, the inner diameter is 40 and the outer diameter is 60, and he extruded it 40. So okay, let's do that. And make sure you snap to the center, otherwise you'll mess everything up later on. So let's first create the outer diameter of 60. You know what? Let's make the inner diameter first. Okay. So again, what I did in the sketch tab, circle. Okay, and the nice thing about Inventor, when you just leave your mouse over, it will show you a helpful screen. Specify circle. You can also make a circle by tangent, or you can even make an ellipse. So these things will come later. We'll get to them. But just make a circle for now. Make another circle inside this one, and at first leave it to anything. Doesn't matter. Okay. What we're going to do now is we're going to dimension. Okay, you know what? Before making this circle, I'll just show you something. Dimensions in Inventor are actually called parameters, and again, if you accidentally exit the sketch tab, you don't get freaked out. Just go back to this tab over here. Yeah, it's already highlighted. So dimensions in Inventor are actually called parameters. So we can actually edit these parameters, and in order to make adaptive sketches, see, we already have a parameter of DO, which Sketch 1 is using. If we, let me just show you, if we change DO to, let's say, 30, okay, 30, you'll see this changes to 30. If we change it to 10, you'll see it changes to 10. So we can control our parameters at any time. However, we do need to do something. Right now it's named DO. Later on when you have many sketches, it will be named different things. Let's rename this inner diameter. Okay. And it has to be closed. Inner diameter. Okay. Okay. So now, if you... right now it's showing 40. It's just showing the dimension. What I want to do is I wanted to show the name as well. So right click. Okay. Right click and go to dimension display. And I wanted to display the whole expression. So yeah, now you can see the name and the equal sign. So when you click on it, if I want to change it to a new name, let's say just inner dia. Okay, just click that, and now the name is inner dia. So going back to the manage tab, and if you click on parameters, you'll see it's called inner diameter. I will actually just leave it named as inner diameter. Much simpler. Okay. And I think it just shows up to a certain amount of letters. Okay, inner diameter. There you go. Parameters. So now we can control this at any time. That's very useful. And actually, many people who do CAD don't actually know this. But let's do another circle. Okay, just leave it at any arbitrary value for now. When we constrain this one, okay, what I want to do now is I want to name this outer diameter, and I actually want it to be whatever the inner diameter is plus 20. So it's called parameter, not dimensions, because basically you can just see what I did there. You can just use them kind of like equations. See? So now this one, it's fx. It's kind of like a function. And in the parameters tab, you can actually see this. The equation is this one plus this one. So a very useful thing to have. If I made it 10, again, it will be smaller. So, okay. So now this thing, the reason we do this is later on if we change the dimension of this one changes accordingly. Yeah. So, I mean, we would have to change the inner one, and then the outer one will follow. Kind of like a follower. Okay. So now we have a basic sketch. Time for the fun part. Okay, save reminder. Okay. You cannot save in part mode. You should always exit the sketch. Alright. So save all this carrier. Okay. Alright. So now we can start to extrude. Actually make a 3D model out of the sketch. And it asks me to click a sketch first, and then I can actually drag this. I want you to play around with the settings first of all. You can no, you know what, scratch that. Okay, so now we can actually begin to extrude this thing. You can see that, extrude, and you can drag and drop. But for me, I will set an extrusion of 40. Yeah, 40, and you can actually make the extrude on this side, or kind of halfway. One thing I forgot to show you guys is this view cube over here. Very useful. You know, if in case you ever do this and you're lost, like, where am I? You can actually just get back on it. This is basically isometric. You see? This view cube is very, very useful. Yeah? Okay. So distance of 40. I've selected my profile and I've selected it halfway through. Axis symmetric, like that. But you know what? I'll just leave it on the one side. Yeah. and I have a reason for this. If it makes it any easier, you guys can actually select your ground plane on, so you can see like where your object is. And what I want to do now is for this carrier thing over here. Where is it? This carrier thing that we're modeling. Yeah, we've already made the cylinder part basically. We'll make the fillets at the end. We want to make the sides, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. So now what I want to do is I want to make the sides, and it's halfway through. So let me ask you a question. How do I make the sides appear like right here in the middle? Okay. How I do that is something called work plane. And how I make the work plane is I click on one side. Okay, I want a work plane exactly in the middle. You can do it two ways. You can either do it like mid plane between two planes, like select the first plane, view cube, select the second plane, and you can see there's already a preview when you select, before even selecting the second one. There will be a work plane over here. Control Z, I don't want that. Actually, I do want that, but I just want to show you that you can actually sometimes automatically just make planes. Another way you can do that is offset. And what offset does is you can select the plane manually. So I want it at -20. My extrude was 40, right? I want it exactly in the middle. You can do it this way too. See? Exact same thing. It doesn't really matter. But I'll just do it the simplest way possible. Just click on the work plane, click on this face, click on this face, and when you do that, it makes a work plane exactly in the middle automatically. So now I'm gonna start a sketch on this work plane. Yeah, and if you notice something here, this thing I want to make it. This thing is kind of bothering me. I'm still in sketch actually. Don't worry. See, when I sketch, it will only be on this plane. I'm just showing you. I'm just showing you. Ah, okay. My view gets messed up sometimes. Just fix that. I wanna see only this part. I don't want to see the top part. So how do I do that? Slice graphics. So going back to the sketch, remember I'm at the top view. Right click anywhere and click slice graphics. So what that does now is it kind of cuts through. Don't worry, your sketch is still there. It didn't disappear. But it just basically sliced the graphic. Okay. So now we can start to sketch this carrier thing. Ultimately, we will be ending up with where is it? A sketch like this, basically. So what I want to do first is I want to project um, this one over here. If you just click on this thing, it will be the whole thing. But I want to project this circle the from the first sketch. Remember, right now we're in sketch 2. I want to access the one from sketch 1, which actually, if you notice here, I forgot to mention this before, it's under extrusion because we made a sketch and we extruded it. So the sketch will always be under the extrusion or whatever you did, 3D model. So we projected the image from this sketch 1 onto the new sketch. And now we can actually use this, and this thing is actually something called adaptive. So that means that when we change the outer diameter, this sketch, the new sketch we're making, will also change. If you don't do this, your sketch will end up very messed up later on. Something I want to do, I need you guys to do right now, is go to, where is it? Application options. Application options. Go to sketch and make sure, yeah, your auto project is on. It should be automatic. So create a line somewhere on this point. See, it will automatically snap the point. It doesn't matter where. Just make a line. Okay, you know what? Before making the line, I forgot. We should make the circle. Okay. And before we make the circle, I want it to be exactly over here. We should make a construction line. How you make a construction line is line, and then construction is, oops, format. This one. So whoop, this is actually a construction line. You see, it's already yellow. It's not a real line. It's just used for constructing and setting geometries. So line, line. You can also do this for circles. I just want to show you. This is a construction. Okay, what happened there? Circle, construction. Yeah, construction circle. Very useful feature you can use later on. So, okay, let's make a construction line from the center until the end. Okay, and if you want to make it construction later, just click on the line. I forgot to make it construction. And this one. I think it is already a construction line. I think if you right click, yeah, it's already a construction line. It's just hard to see. You know what? Yeah, it is actually a construction line. Sorry, took up a bit more time. Okay. What I want to do now is I want to make a circle on this construction line. Yeah. And I want the circle to be you'll see later on it kind of doesn't matter. And the circle is set to construction. I don't want that. I don't want this circle to be construction. Right now everything we're doing is set to construction. I don't want that. Just click on construction again. It'll just be a normal circle. Double click on the dimension and set it to, actually I don't want it 20, I want it 10. And I don't know why I did that. No. Okay, I want to move this thing actually. Base point, click on the center. Okay, this thing is actually constrained. How did that happen? Okay, let's go back a few steps. It's constrained. It's constrained to this line over here. So you know what, delete the line, and I want to move this circle from the base as center point, exactly like this. I don't want to be very specific in this part, you'll see later on why, but just make a line from this thing to this thing, and it's setting everything to construction. So you know what, I don't want this to be construction. And make another line, tangent, it should automatically snap. You'll see it being highlighted. Sorry, that wasn't snapped. Okay, there you go. And you know it's tangent by, you see this sign over here? There's that tangent sign. Very useful. Make sure it's tangent, otherwise your thing won't extrude. Okay. Now I want to trim. Those of you doing AutoCAD would know these features. Trim this part over here. And I want to make another circle. 5. In fact, I want to set this as a function. So let's call this carrier hole. Carrier holes equal d4 divided by 2. Alright. So now what this is whatever d4 is, if I change d4 to, let's say, 20, you see what happened? Yeah. Okay, it's before, you know what, before I do this step, I should have shown you something else. Yeah, if you drag this thing, you'll see what's going on actually. You see? The lines are following the circle. We don't want that. So, okay, it's all messed up now. So this line over here, what we're going to do is we're going to set a horizontal constraint. Where is it? Yeah. So this makes lines lie parallel to the x-axis of the sketch coordinate. So I want this one. No, okay. this one horizontal to this one. This one horizontal. Okay, so I got my mistake. Okay, so these lines are actually symmetric, and this circle is not. So what we're gonna do now is we're actually gonna set this point horizontal to this one. How we do that is we click horizontal constraint, we click on this point, and you can see the horizontal line already pop up, and we click on wait, okay, horizontal constraint. Okay, what's going on here? This point and this point. Okay. See what was happening now. So now this thing can move like this. Okay. Still looks kind of messed up. And if you notice, the lines are not yet symmetric. So we'll do that now. We'll set these two symmetric about this one. And now you can see it already looks really messed up. Uh, press escape to exit the symmetry, and you'll see it's something like this. Yeah. Of course, we don't want it to be like that. We don't, so we can actually just drag these lines like this around the circle. It's already constrained to the circle. What we can actually do is dimension this from here to here. Right now it's 40. Let's set it at 45. Nice clean number. And this thing, oops, I'm still in dimension mode. That's very wrong. We can set a tangent constraint from this to this. Okay, perfect. So now this line is tangent to this one. I'll repeat the step. We'll set a tangent constraint, and instead of clicking the line first, if you click the line first and then this, yeah, you'll see it's already constrained. Perfect. So it's distant 45 and it's constrained like so. Okay. Now for the fun part. We will extrude this one. Remember, this height is 40, and we want it to be as symmetrical as possible. So when you extrude this one over here, it's automatically going to be at 40 for now. I want you to click on this one. Yep. And instead of 40, how would I'm not sure about this one, but how would 20 look? Still looks a bit thick. 10? I suppose 10 would be okay. Again, these are all going under the parameters. We haven't seen that in a while. All the extrudes, the diameters. The extrude is actually here. So later on, if we want to edit this extrude, you just double click and we can set this to 20. See? So everything is editable. Should be that. So how would 15 look? Yeah, you know what? I'll stick to 15. Okay. Now we've made one of these arms. What I want to do now is actually I just realized I wasn't supposed to make this hole. This one, and I've already set this one as a constraint to this one. You know what? Let me delete this hole over here. I don't need it for now. Yeah, the extrude messed up. Ooh. Okay. What we can do actually is we can delete this extrude and don't consume the sketch, and we can make another extrude, a new extrude, because I messed up on that one. And this is actually not sketching. Why is that? Oh, sorry. Click profile, and again, just leave it at 15. Okay, now we have that. The reason I want to make the holes using this hole feature over here, how you do that is you just click hole. I want it to be, you can choose many types. You can experiment with it later on your own time, but I choose concentric. Click on the plane. I want it on this plane, and choose the concentric reference, and I want it this circle. And you can choose how much you want it. I think 15 is okay. Go straight to the other side. I want it to be a threaded hole actually. Sorry, a tapped hole. So later on we'll put the, what do you call? Okay, so it's loaded a bunch of industry standard holes. I want it to be an ANSI unified screw thread. We'll do this for the bolting part later on. Apply, and you can see the tapered hole. Beautiful. Again, you can edit the hole. Where is it? Over here. All the features are here. You can edit the hole by double clicking, and let's say I want it, let's make it like this. This is the same thing. Okay. Now we have the hole and we have the arm. Now I want the remaining 6 arms over here, like this. I want the remaining 6 arms. So do you think I should actually just repeat this feature for 6 times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Doesn't make sense, right? So what we're going to do instead is we're going to click on extrude, and we're going to click on the hole, and what we're going to do is we're going to do something, save reminder, okay. We're going to do something called, here it is. It's called circular pattern, yep, under the 3D sketch. And for the rotation axis, if you accidentally click on this and you don't see any option coming up, yeah, you should always make sure this is clicked, yeah, the rotation axis. Click here, and the number of parts, what is this? Okay, number of parts you can see here. Placement 60, 360 degrees. If I want it only on the half, I can do that. But of course we want 360. Rotational. Okay. So now we've made all the parts. The holes have been repeated for all of them. Yep. The original one is over here. Now, for later on, I want to keep track of the original one. So immediately what I'm going to do now is these are all patterns. You can see by here, by just hovering your mouse over this. These are all patterns. I want to keep track and know this is the original. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a sketch on this one, on the top of this one. In fact, let me just show you what I did. Start sketch. See? I was on the third sketch, but I exited and I started a new sketch. So now you're gonna see it's gonna just make those sketches over and over. So good practices, don't have unnecessary sketches. Start 2D, sketch on top of this, and I just want to make a quick rectangle. Yeah, something like this, just to know that this is the original one. And I want to make this mirrored. I'm going to mirror this one. Select the features you want to mirror, this one, and this one. Mirror line is this one. Apply. Done. Okay. What I'm going to do now is, the reason I made the sketch, okay, wait, let's go to isometric. Okay, the reason I made the sketch is I want to extrude cut. Select the profiles. Normally, extrude doesn't only add the material. You see, if I click here, it's already set something extrude cut. I can add as well by clicking extrude add, join. But I actually, what is this, intersect? Oh, okay, no, I don't want that. I want extrude cut. And I want it all the way down. So, it doesn't matter, you can just drag this arrow all the way down like this. Alright, we'll move the plane as well though, so that's the problem. Select to 40, the original height of this one. And now we know that this is the original one. Yeah, just to keep track of that one. What I want to do now is this circular pattern. Okay, just a small mistake I made before is click on the circular pattern again, actually. And I want you to actually name this one number of legs. The reason we do that is when we do this, this is now set as a parameter. See, number of legs. We have a lot of parameters here, you see? That's why it's important to name the parameters. Oops, what did I do? Okay, no, don't worry about that. Okay, so now we have that number of legs. If we want to change the number of legs later on, we can actually just come here, and let's say I want only 4 legs. You see, it will make 4 legs. So we will use this to control it later on. Done. Okay. So the next step is, what was it? Yeah, we basically have the basic shape. For the last step, I'm just going to make the fillets. You can see the one over here, it not this one, is not the finished one.
No. Just roll with it, man. Just roll with it. Okay, next thing we're going to do is create some fillets.
Yeah, this finished one has, it's very, as you can see, it's very, what is it? Chamfer, I always mix up. So how we do that is we just, yeah, sorry, it's a fillet. Chamfer is the one with the edge. It's a bevel. But you can select Control All, or you know what, just fillet. And you can click all fillet and all rounds. So what it does is it applies a fillet to all the rounds. And I actually don't want it at the circle. So you can shift click. Okay, you know what? This will be quite messy. So let's do it manually. Select all the parts you want to get filleted. Yeah, it can be kind of tedious. There was an easier way to do this, but I messed up actually by making the holes. So I want everything to be chamfered to about, and again you can name this chamfer equals 5, and it will save it as our parameter. Okay, you know what, 5 is too big, I guess. So how about 2? Does 2 work? Yep. It's always good to notice those error mistakes. So now you can see all nice and chamfered. Okay, one last step is there's a key. You can notice there's like a part missing from these ones over here. How will I make that? First of all, I go to the original. How do I identify it? The one with this thing over here that I made to keep track. Or I can just click over whole, and that will point me to the one I originally made. Uh, okay, the hole is actually still there. So what I want to do now is I want to make, oops, I always like to be on isometric mode. This is why work planes are very useful. Click on the work plane, okay, and click on this side, and then this side, and this will make a work plane exactly to the middle of this one. And while you're at it, remove this work plane. Remove means like set the visibility off. We don't need that anymore. Work planes are just so I can start a sketch on this work plane. I can start a sketch on any flat face, as you can see here. I can even start a sketch here, but I don't want to. And again, you should be deleting the sketches you're not using. So I want to start a sketch actually on this work plane. And what I want to do now is I want to make a rectangle, or you know what, I will project. Again, it's always good to slice graphics. You can see I have the hole over here as well. In fact, actually, I just realized the hole is not going all the way. Okay, so what we can do now is project this geometry, just this one and this one, and we can make a rectangle. It will automatically snap, should automatically snap to this point, you can see when it highlights. And it doesn't matter like at this point how far you set it. If you want to be very precise, if you do want to be very precise, what you can do is okay, make the rectangle. You can project this part, and you can dimension this one from here to here by, let's say, by 5. Yeah, yeah. You can name this, but I don't think I would. It would be very confusing. So now, why did we make the sketch? You'll see now we're going to use a feature called revolve. Okay, and it will automatically select this profile. If it's not automatically selected, you can just click profile and click that. It's already selected. And now it's going to ask for the axes. And something strange with revolve is you cannot select an axis like that. So go to the origin in your models, and you can select the axis from here. So we want it about the y-axis, and now you can see it makes this weird donut shaped thing. What it's doing now is revolve joining. Whenever you make one of these 3D models, it will either join or you can cut. These are actually Boolean operations. Cut. And you can press OK. And we have our hole now. There you go. In fact, I want to just check something. Going back to this sketch. Slice graphics. Yep. Okay. I actually want to choose the dimension of this one. Let's say I want to set it to 5. You can see the revolve will automatically update. So that's it's very useful to always slice graphics, always set dimensions and even name them so you know like what it is. So this one can be the depth of the no spaces, right? Depth of the, I don't know what you would call this, circular cut. Okay, that's too big. You know what? Depth circular cut equals, and actually I think I'll just set it 10 is too much. Let's set it at 8. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, you know what? I want it to come until here. Nah, I think it's okay. Yeah, you can see it updated to be a bit more like that. So now our thing is complete actually. I haven't saved in a while, so let me save it. It's pretty much complete. One last thing you can do to make it look really nice is, first of all, for this extrusion 3. In fact, let me rename this to extruding leg sketch. Yeah. Does it set it as a parameter? Nope. Okay. Extruding leg sketch. It doesn't set as a parameter, but if I were to do something like this, extruding leg sketch, like that, then I'm guessing it would be a parameter. Okay, this work plane is really bothering me. Just visibility off. Extruding leg sketch. Yep, there it is. So if we want the extrude to be actually, let's say 12, we can do that. See? But I think I'm okay with 15, so Control Z. Yeah, the reason I named that is I want to change the material of this one. So how I do that is I click, uh, what was it? Properties. Edit feature. No, not edit feature. Okay, just click on this one, and I wanted to set the material of this one just for aesthetic purposes, like so. And it doesn't move it to the chamfer as well. That's not what I want. How about I set it to the fine textured black? Yeah, it doesn't apply everywhere. I think it's because okay, revolution, fillets. We can worry about that later on. Actually, it is because of the fillets. I can also set the color of the fillets as well. Okay, like so. That's why maybe it's good to actually make different multiple fillets. And this one over here, that was this extrude, wasn't it? No, not this extrude. That was this revolution. Yes, okay. I can set that to black as well. So now all the sides are black. Yeah. And now what about this thing over here? These are just textures. It's just about aesthetic reasons. That's the original extrude. So we can set that to another color. Let's say gold. See? And now we have this last thing over here. If you remember, it was this extrusion. Let's say it's denim blue. Or you know, that's jeans. Engine turned. Yeah. Anyways, it's just playing around with the appearance. Making these colors. Let's just make it iron gray. What we can do now is we click on carrier and we can actually set a material for this one. And let's say I want it to be steel alloy. Yeah. So now what we can do is, since we've selected this, I can go to eye properties, go to physical. You see, the density of this one is around 7,700 kilogram per meter cube. If you update, it will give you the mass of the whole thing. And if I change this material from steel alloy to, for example, stainless steel, it's a bit heavier. See, it will update. Let's say I change it to wood. Apply. And now it's much less heavy, of course. So let's just set it at steel. It's around this density. You also have center of gravity and all these things. Very useful. Apply, close. So now this whole thing is actually just steel. Okay, so our thing is basically finished now. Yeah. For the next part, if I want to set the property of this one, I can just right click property, and let's say I want it aluminum flat, or I want it, oh, I really need to get a hand of these things. Engine turned. I think that's okay. Okay. For the next part, we're gonna save it first. We're gonna actually assemble this thing onto the go-kart, this part over here. Okay, so that's it for this part. See you in the next one.